News. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ethan. Today we're going over a new discovery with a certain species of sauropod dinosaur and taking a look as to what's going on with different species of penguins, kangaroo, and I believe a bear over in some part of North America. So let's head back in time to sometime in the Mesozoic era or during the time of the dinosaurs.
That was funny.
These look like a couple or a few, actually quite a large herd of jolly sauropods, but very crooked tails. That's an issue. But let's see where this takes
Is
place.
that genetic inbreeding?
So, well, yeah, it definitely seems that way. NHM, wait, was it the Natural History Museum of, I think, London? Fossilized nests of the world's largest dinosaur discovered in India. Oh, that's why they have genetic issues. Anyway, more than 250 titanosaur eggs have been uncovered in India, revealing more about the lives of some of the largest animals which ever lived. Wow, that's a large number of eggs coming from these sauropods. Must have been a decent sized herd. Usually, when it comes to sauropod dinosaurs and
And yes, he
finding
said herd.
herd, what about herd?
You said herd, but it kind of sounded like you said it with a T.
Oh, well, back to the eggs. The only species of the only areas and time periods that we have found sauropod eggs or nests from is during the beginning of the late Cretaceous, around 98 million years ago in Argentina, possibly Chile, but it seems like for the most part they've come in from Argentina, possibly from large species of sauropods such as Argentinosaurus. But outside of that region and that time, they're practically non existent. There have been certain fragmentary remains of eggs found from long necked sauropods, such as Diplodocus, possibly, maybe Brachiosaurus over in North America, like different places of Colorado, Wyoming, Utah. However, there have not been any nests. There have been different species of prosauropods with intact nests, but at least outside of the early late Cretaceous. That is it. So among the eggs was one containing the remains of a second egg inside it, suggesting that these mighty sauropods may have reproduced similarly to modern birds. It tends to be more accepted when it comes to creating a nest. They simply would have created a bit of a depression in the dirt and laid their eggs. Not really, possibly even like gaining vegetation to help keep them warm, considering it was quite a mild climate, or I'd say a warm climate back in the early late Cretaceous and even towards the um, very end of the late Cretaceous. There could have been more titanosaurs in India than previously thought. So, a new study published in the journal Plus One found evidence of six different types of fossilized egg across the Lametta Formation in central India. Okay, so I am familiar with the Lametta Formation. There are a handful of different species of sauropods that have been found here. Now, let's bring up one specific species. And there have also been different species of theropods that have been discovered here as well, especially the abelisaurid. So animals related to Carnotaurus, Pachynemosaurus, except Carnotaurus and Pachynemosaurus were situated over in Brazil and different parts of Argentina. So Isosaurus, Isasaurus. So this is a large species of sauropod dinosaur for India, but technically it's somewhere between a small to medium size in the overall general scale for sauropods. But it inhabited different parts of India and possibly Pakistan, as well as with other certain relatives. It is a member of the Lithostrodiae lineage of titanosaurs. So, these animals are probably somewhere around 60 feet in length or pushing a little over 19 meters and probably weighed upwards of 16 to 18 tons. It was very likely that they would have roamed in herds of somewhere between 30 to 50 individuals. So
Somebody drew one.
that's not a bad Isosaurus. They definitely focused on giving it a very muscular neck. This specific subfamily of Titanosauridae is usually reconstructed with having very wide necks, whereas the rest of their body, to an extent, tends to be a little more gracile in appearance. Somewhat. I think the tails might be a little too thin, maybe a bit more musculature. But overall, I don't think it's a bad looking animal, except the legs. I think the legs might be too thin. There should probably be some more um, flesh on the legs in general, just overall muscle. Now, what is interesting is despite how skinny it is, at least on the legs and the tail, they're not showing the rib cage, which is nice, but odd too.
Say cheese.
Yes. This little guy, and it's basically the baby Isosaurus from Prehistoric Planet. It is very likely, or I believe we do have evidence in certain instances where dinosaurs, regardless of their family, would have had an egg tooth when they first hatched. And then the next few days, it likely would have fell off, much like with what you see in different species of birds today. Though this was a bit odd that they portrayed the young as well. First off, you had it where the adults left their dung behind to provide their young when they hatched, like 90 days later, with supplemental food. It would have completely decomposed at this point. But um, that's still, I think, a bit of. I think it's an interesting theory, but a bit odd considering it's very likely they would have laid their eggs adjacent to an area where the sauropodlets or the young sauropods would have had accessible forage.
Yeah, just eat my poop, kids.
Yeah, in the middle of a volcanic area. Didn't That was just
Oh, I
nuts.
forgot about that.
Yeah, kind of silly for this documentary to portray. And also in the form of horse dung, which they would not have fed on any types of grasses of today. It would have been far too hard for a sauropod or any species of dinosaur to digest. Even the hadrosaurs, which had some of the best chewing mechanisms of any species of dinosaur or lineage. Oh yes, so they're isosaurs. They were okay. They definitely added more, I guess, of sort of like a stocky sort of appearance to the animal. It is possible that certain lineages of the Titanosaurus had these elongated osteoderms along their necks, down to their backs, and parts of their tail. It is seen a little more in certain species of diplodocids, but Titanosaurs certainly is possible. There was a certain species that was supposedly discovered called Bruthachylosaurus, and due to certain estimates, um, regarding these the leftover measurements that we have from the supposed bones, the animal could have been larger than a blue whale. However, it seems that it was based off of petrified wood that they discovered, which an animal the size of a blue whale probably didn't have or it couldn't support its weight on land. It was just simply too much. Largest species of dinosaurs, such as Argentinosaurus that we've discovered, push their limit at about 85 tons. It's also being able to obtain the amount of food to support not only the weight, but all the thinking that's occurring, as well as expending energy when growing and fighting other members of its own kind, or pushing down large species of trees. And just the amount of energy, especially in vegetation, in the form of ferns, is really hard to come by for something that could possibly weigh as much as 185 to 220 tons, which so it didn't exist. But back to Isosaurus. So they date to the late Cretaceous and are thought to have been buried by lava during the eruption of a volcanic area known as the Deccan Traps. While these eggs don't necessarily all come from different dinosaur species, it adds weight to theories that there could have been more titanosaurs living in India than the three types that are currently known. I believe the other one is Haruiosaurus, which is essentially Well, it belongs to a different lineage of Titanosauridae. I believe it's the Commemorasauridae, but it's around the same size as Isosaurus, so pushing around 18 tons. Well, these eggs, um, oh, okay. So Professor Guntapalli V.R. Prasad, co-author and leader of the research team, says together with dinosaur nests from Habalpur in the east and Basilasiner in the west, the new nesting sites from Madhya Pradesh's Dar district cover an east-west stretch of about 1,000 kilometers, or pushing somewhere around 450 miles. That's a lot. This constitutes one of the largest dinosaur hatcheries in the world. Well, those are really well preserved eggs. I mean, they look pretty good. Also, very circular. Which is a very distinct sauropod sort of egg morphology. This is not something that you see so much in different species of oviraptorids, at least, where the smaller theropod dinosaurs inhabited different parts of East Asia, especially China, Mongolia, possibly part of Russia, and a couple of species over in North America. Certain hadrosaurs might have had somewhat circular um, and egg morphology, but also a bit ovalish as well. So titanosaurs, let's see. Patagotitan. Here's the problem. That animal is a bit of a debate when it comes to.
Yeah, but what are you talking about?
Oh, well, it's just mentioning one of the largest species, Patagotitan majorum, is believed to have measured over 37 meters long, or the same length as two bowling lanes. Um, Patagotitan is or was supposedly a contender for Argentinosaurus for being the largest dinosaur to be discovered, but it looks like the animal might simply have been the remains of another species or another individual of an Argentinosaurus or a smaller sauropod in general, and that the size was drastically exaggerated. It seems to be an invalid genus and species. So while titanosaur remains are found all over the world, they are most species. What? Oh, they are most species rich in South America. Around 75% of all titanosaur species are known from Patagonia. I would be careful with that because maybe Titanosauridae, that specific family of Titanosauridae, that is possibly true. But Titanosauridae in general is spread out throughout the world. So, um, if you're referring to Titanosauridae, no, that's far off. With the Alca Moevo site having been particularly important for understanding how these dinosaurs reproduced. Spectacularly preserved sites such as these have revealed exquisite fossils such as preserved titanosaur embryo. Described in 2020, this fossil revealed that, like modern birds, titanosaurs developed an egg tooth they used to break open the shell when they're ready to hatch. But because preserved eggs are very rare, it is difficult for researchers to directly link a type of egg to a type of dinosaur. Oh yeah, it's a huge guess. I'm guessing these are likely eggs of Isosaurus or the other Hyangosaurus species in the area, due to them being some of the only species of sauropods that we have found over in central India. The other species, however, is more known for being found in Pakistan, but it is very possible considering the two populations likely coexisted, or the two species. It could have been one of the species of sauropod laying the eggs. So, Dr. Susanna Maidment, a principal researcher and curator of dinosaurs at the museum, explains dinosaur eggs aren't very common in the fossil record, and this may be because of how they evolved. A recent paper suggested that some ornithischians, a group of dinosaurs containing ankylosaurs, stegosaurs, and triceratops, or ceratopsians, may have had soft shelled eggs. Huh. I haven't heard about this theory. So it's possible that the ancestors of this group and perhaps even dinosaurs as a whole didn't have hard eggshells. Well, I think they would be hard to an extent, either else they would just crack. However, it's hard to tell if ornithischians lost their ability to make hard eggs or if other dinosaurs, such as the sauropods and theropods, gained it. Well, the sauropods and theropods belonging to the Saurischian group of dinosaurs. Whereas the other three families, well, technically there's the ornithopods, including the different species of hadrosaurs and quadontids, also belong to Ornithischiae. The newly discovered nesting sites in India help to add further evidence for researchers investigating the process of dinosaur reproduction. So, across the Dar district, the researchers excavated 92 nests as part of the study. These mounds of earth were likely dug from the soft sediment of a floodplain environment over 66 million years ago. Well, the animals lived, well, both species existed somewhere between 67 to 70 million years ago. It's possible that they might have existed for the last million to million and a half years of the Cretaceous, but it's also likely that they already went extinct. So the nests were packed closely together, suggesting that while the dinosaurs may have laid their eggs together in colonies, the parents may not have stuck around to look after them. This seems to be a bit more of an accepted theory um, with hadrosaurs or the ornithopods because of their smaller size compared to sauropods in general, unless you're talking about behemoths like a certain species of Saurolophus or Shintungosaurus. But all the others were well under 8 tons for the most part, and they simply didn't need as much food compared to the sauropods, so they could just simply stick around, and they wouldn't have as negative of an impact when it comes to over browsing or grazing. If you're talking about feeding on different species of flowers and low-lying ferns at the time, compared to the sauropods. So we think that sauropods like the titanosaurs lived in herds because of their preserved footprints and trackways. There have been a number of different trackways of sauropods that have been discovered nearly on every continent. And it seems that they also nested together as well, like some birds. Their strategy of laying a lot of eggs packed densely together is not one commonly associated with parental care. While there are fossils of some dinosaurs, such as the meat eating theropods, where parents are preserved sitting on a nest, probably referring to the oviraptorids. There is no evidence of that kind of behavior in the sauropods. It looks like sauropods laid their eggs and then left their offspring to fend for themselves. Um, well, I mean, that is the guess, but simply due to how much food they're having to intake. Though the parents may have left, the eggs would still need to be kept warm during their incubation period. It's probably not just food, it's that the sauropods have to simply move. And technically, you would say the other dinosaurs were too, but it wasn't as much of a necessity for their bodies. So they could withstand just sitting around the eggs for a long period. The sauropods couldn't. Probably really damaging to their bones or ligaments, muscles in general. So though the parents may have left, the eggs would still need to be kept warm during their incubation period. Whether this was by burying them under sand like turtles or under rotting plant material like crocodiles is still debated by scientists.
Well, then why would you leave them out by volcanoes?
Yeah, that's definitely a weird one, especially an active volcanic site. No dinosaur would have done that. Yeah, sauropods have small brains, but they likely had the intelligence to not venture into that region. At least most sauropods. You could have had certain, brachiosauruses that had mental issues. But besides that, well, okay, actually, we're in India, so certain isosaurs. This probably wouldn't be too surprising. Um, let's see. What else? Oh, putting dirt or sand onto the eggs is also a bit of a debated theory when it comes to how to keep the eggs incubated for the sauropods. It is very possible that that is or was their method. Probably not so much like the crocodiles placing plant material. That might have been a mechanism used by hadrosaurs or even maybe certain species of ceratopsians or ankylosaurs. Probably not sauropods. A lack of preserved plant material and the pattern of fragmented eggshell at the Indian nests have led the researchers to suggest that burial under sand may have been more likely, at least in titanosaur species such as Hanosaurus and Isosaurus. These are some of the only sauropods to have been found in the Lamento Formation, which once lived in the on the subcontinent. While the results seem to suggest that these eggs were part of a nesting colony, other explanations can't be completely ruled out. More research will be needed to confirm whether the different nests were made at the same time. They probably were made in within a few days of each other, at least. Kind of like with what you see in not just sea turtles coming to the beach and laying their eggs, but you could even compare it to possibly to different species of reptile when they're laying their eggs. Birds, you could, but well, when they first lay their eggs, it might be quite accurate. I guess I'm thinking when they're being hatched. See, the ovum in ovo egg is the first of its kind to be found in dinosaurs and reptiles more widely. So I guess this characteristic, well, yeah, that's very well preserved. So among the 256 eggs found at the site, earlier they said 250, one in particular caught the researchers' attention. It appears to show a layer of eggshell inside another egg, with its shape suggesting that it had always been this way. While multi-shelled eggs where an egg can have more than one external layer are not uncommon in birds, reptiles, and dinosaurs, the researchers believe this fossil was something different. They think it is an ovum in ovo egg, where one egg is found inside another. Oh, one of these instances. Wow, that's actually really neat. If confirmed, it would be the first example of an ovum in ovo egg, not only in dinosaurs, but reptiles as a whole.
Wait a minute. Does that mean they lay an egg, but inside the egg is the actual egg?
Um, yeah, it's confusing. It sounds like that. Um, I don't know how else to describe it. Saying for a second like it was a mistake in the forming of the egg, and that's just simply what occurred. Currently, these eggs are only known of in birds, where they form under stressful conditions such as disease, lack of food, or abnormal temperatures. Yeah, so it sounds like this was a problem during reproduction. Maybe there was a massive dry season, and the sauropod mother simply couldn't obtain enough forage, or she was under severe stress from something else, and this occurred. This causes a developing egg to be pushed back into the mother's body after its shell has started forming. Oh, whoa, that is not good. Jeez. When this egg meets a less developed egg, it can be covered in another layer of yolk and albumin before being shelled again. It's kind of neat though, but it's not good for the sauropod.
You have to be able to get out of it.
Yeah. This is, well, I mean, not just the sauropodlet if it's able to hatch, but like just getting back out of the sauropod mother in general could cause an infection. This is possible because different sections of a bird's oviduct carry out different roles, causing the egg to repeat certain stages of its formation. As birds are descended from dinosaurs, small dinosaurs back in the Jurassic period, not any large species, it suggests that titanosaurs and their ancestors may have had a similar reproductive system. That is very possible, since both the birds, the large theropod dinosaurs, the sauropods all direct or come from the same common ancestor. Discovering exactly when this ability evolved would help to support or refute this theory. It tells us more about how dinosaurs might have behaved. That is shocking, though, that occurred. Okay, well, this is really good to see. Along with the eggs, let's head over forward in time and to another part of the world, supposedly. So, from environment.nsw.gov.au or Australia, brush-tailed rock wallabies thriving in Warrumbungle National Park. I believe Warrumbungle National Park is over in New South Wales.
It just sounds funny.
Yeah, brush-tailed rock wallabies, let's bring them up, are mostly concentrated within the eastern part of the New South Wales state. I think a bit of South Queensland. Okay, so BRUS. They're, I guess you could say, an average sized wallaby. They can reach somewhere around 16 to 17 pounds or a little over 5 kilograms. and they're mostly feeding on different species of shrubs in the region. They're not really grazers like their larger kangaroo relatives. They do belong to Macropodidae, which is the same family of marsupials in which kangaroos, ground-based, ground-dwelling kangaroos, tree kangaroos, and all other species of wallaby belong to, as well as the quokka. Yeah, um, these fluffy guys, they're great.
Oh, wait, here's one.
Oh yeah, there's the Joey. He seems pretty healthy. Okay, let's head back to the article. So, one of Australia's most at risk species, the endangered brush tailed rock wallaby, is thriving thanks to the new feral predator free area in Warrumbungle National Park. Recent monitoring has detected 4 new juveniles and 2 new pouch young, raising the total number of wallabies within the area to 18. Whoa, that is really low. I think we need to relocate some from other areas. Well, this one looks cheerful. I think it's eating something. It's kind of imitating the quokka. The increase in population comes after 12 brush-tailed rock wallabies were successfully translocated from Square Top Mountain in Warrumbungle National Park into the feral-free area in September 2024. Okay, so these are from other relocated um, brush brush-tailed rock wallabies from other populations. So this is quite fascinating. Spanning 303 hectares, I think around 600 acres, NSW National or New South Wales National Parks and Wildlife Service built a large feral predator-free area equipped with remote cameras for surveillance to keep out feral cats, foxes, goats, and other predators. I guess the goats might be going after native birds in the region, considering it can happen with different species of bovine in a wide area of.
Oh, why would they be going after the rock wallaby?
Um, I mean, they could possibly go after a joey if they're lacking protein, but birds especially, and there are many species of bird in Australia that, due to especially the cats and foxes, um, I believe even certain reptiles and amphibians, they're having a bit of a tough time, and these predator-free areas really help. Feral predator-free areas are vital to reversing species decline and preventing extinctions. Definitely. Work on the Warbungle feral predator-free area was completed in July 2023, with the eradication of feral animals completed in 2 stages in January and October 2024. Oh, wow. Um, I think it's just funny how it says that. It's like 2 stages where they just had some Australians go in and just eliminate everybody, but just, the non-native species. Feral cats and goats are leading causes for decline in many native Australian bird, reptile, and amphibian species. What are the goats doing to the reptiles and amphibians? Just stomping on them occasionally or
Eating them?
consistently? Or, yeah, they're actively foraging. Well, I mistook you for a leaf. Anyway, I don't know. That's hard to say. I think makes me want to look into some goats, like what's been going on even with certain mountain goat populations, because they're notorious for taking people out in certain regions for salt. There's lack of sodium in certain areas where mountain goats in North America have been relocated, such as Western Washington State, the Olympic National Forest.
And they're killing people.
Yeah, it's not good. And how they haven't been taken out too, including the endangered brush-tailed rock wallaby. Okay, so they're going after him too. This feral predator-free area is one in a network of protected areas that are an essential element of conservation strategies to support the reintroduction of locally extinct animal species. So, this is an exciting and hopeful step forward in the fight to save one of our most endangered native species. The brush-tailed rock wallaby is not just surviving; it's thriving. Yeah, I would not consider 18 individuals to be thriving, but it is increasing. It's on its way. Feral predator-free areas like this are vital to reversing Australia's record of mammal extinctions. They're proof that with the right action, we can give our unique wildlife finding chance. Okay, so is there anything else? Just seems to be a bit repetitive. Oh, there he is. He looks very grateful.
Why am I in a bag?
Oh, that was it. Well, I'm glad they're slightly increasing. I wonder what's going on with other predator-free areas in Australia as well. Okay, well, let's head from land down under to another part of the world. Okay, it's from the SelenaPost.com. Police, bear seen wander in Kansas neighborhood. Um, that's kind of funny. Is this during the winter?
I hope so.
That would be some,
Strange grass.
yeah. No, so Neosho County authorities are advising residents in and around the southeast Kansas community of Chanute to use caution following a reported bear sighting within the city of Chanute, according to a media release from police. If anyone sees a bear, anyway, what is there anything? Please tell me there's more. Oh no. Okay, well, it's good to see that or hear that there's a black bear over in some part of Kansas. I'm guessing this is probably occurring. I don't know where that is. But it might be in the eastern Kansas or along the eastern Kansas border, which seems to be really where the only trees or bits of woods or forest are in the state, and it's adjacent to Missouri or western Missouri. So, you probably have it where the black bear is coming in from the increasing population over in the state of Missouri. Yep, to eastern Kansas. There it is. Still, though, I mean, yeah,
Close to central.
it's small bits of forest here and there in the eastern part of the state, and then
Oh, it's not
central.
central. I wasn't realizing that's right next to Missouri and
Yeah, and Oklahoma too. There's bits of forest over in northeastern Oklahoma. A lot more as you head down towards the Ochita National Wildlife Refuge over in southeastern Oklahoma. Also, slightly more black bears in the region. But yeah, that makes sense. He's definitely looking for probably deer fawns at this point. And it's early May, possibly. Um, but also a wide range of different species of insects and nuts. So let's see. Yeah, was there something? Yes. Our final article. Here we go. So from abc.net.au or Australia. So back here we are. Kangaroo Island's little penguin numbers rise after record low in 2024. Well, that's really good to hear for the little penguins. The little penguin has let's pull up a picture of the little penguin. Range of virtually the whole South Australian coast. And I'm not just referring to the state of South Australia. It ranges from the coasts of southern Western Australia all the way down to southern Victoria and even the different islands of New Zealand, as well as like the small corresponding islands. Kangaroo Island is located just south of South Australia. And yes, there are kangaroos there. And this is a little penguin, and it is the smallest species of penguin on Earth. On average, they don't really reach much more than 3 pounds or just slightly over a kilogram. They feed on different species of krill and as well different species of squid just off the coast, and occasionally even small species of fish.
I
And
don't know
yes,
why he looks blurry.
he seems to be somewhat cheerful. And no, they're not really suited for cold weather to the extent of different species of penguin over the Antarctic, even certain parts of South America. It's a bit more similar to what we see in the South African penguin populations, which are also one of the smaller species of penguin that exist. Oh yeah, this is a um I guess an individual that just came from the ocean. It's probably just feeding. Seems a bit fat, which is a good thing. And yes, they do have blubber. Let's take a look. Oh, this is an actual penguin that was sighted at Vivone Bay in the 2025 survey. So the adult population of little penguins on Kangaroo Island is estimated to be 704 after the latest survey. It's an increase on the record low numbers recorded in 2024, but still only about half of those recorded in 2011. Researchers say ongoing monitoring will be important in the wake of the harmful algae bloom. Hmm. Um, that's interesting. I really haven't taken a look into the little penguins over on Kangaroo Island, so I didn't know that they had a much larger population back in 2011. So this is, I guess you could say, good to hear considering they're increasing from recent years. There were once potentially thousands of little penguins making their home on the picturesque and rugged Kangaroo Island off the coast of South Australia.
Wait a minute. It said, wait, where's it at? It says potentially.
Well,
That means we think it could have happened.
yeah, well, Kangaroo Island in general is around 1,700 square miles or pushing around 4,400 square kilometers. So it certainly is possible. But it can be a tough life for little birds, which stand only about 30 centimeters high or about a foot, as they battle human interference, feral cats, and other land and sea predators, as well as the lingering impact of the harmful algae bloom. Yeah, cats and different species of seals, even maybe orcas off the coast, and they want a little um, penguin wing, like chicken wing. So the island's fragile population has rebounded in 2025 after an historically low survey count in 2024, but their numbers remain at nearly half of the numbers recorded in 2011. So possibly there were only about 1,400.
What are they doing? I'm trying to pull him out of a hole.
Oh, yeah, I was concerned about him. I guess so. Yeah, they're just looking for burrows.
No, the penguin pulled him in.
Yeah, he's quite interesting. Oh, yeah, that's a very strong penguin. Guess he's trying to bring back the energy or the strength of his Pliocene epoch ancestors from like 4 million years ago. So the Kangaroo Island Landscape Board's coast project officer Alex Camino said 352 active burrows were found when the survey was conducted in October last year. This number is doubled to give an estimate of 704 adult breeding little penguins. So that's just the um this is referring to the breeding pairs in the area. That's actually good to hear. The number of birds recorded in spring 2024 was 540. The number recorded in 2011, when an initial island-wide survey was conducted, was 1,348.
What? I'm confused.
So in 2024, it was 540, and then 2011, it was 1,348. So it's slightly,
Fallen by almost 2/3. I mean, not quite, but
um, yeah. Well, I'm guessing. I wonder when the decrease occurred, and actually why. I'm guessing maybe federal feral predators in the area. Hey, here's a little pair. So eight active colonies were surveyed, including the largest at Emu Bay and Penishaw. The colonies at Cape Kasanai, Western River Cove, Snelling's Beach, and Brown Beach, with no activity detected in the past few years, were excluded from the survey. Oh, well, that's going to be putting out or leaving out a certain number. Miss Camino said while the results were encouraging and the numbers are looking good, if it would take a number of years to see the full impact of the algae bloom. We know that in conjunction with the HAB or harmful algae bloom, we also had a marine heat wave which can impact seabirds and their prey behavior over time. Yeah, you can have it where depending on how the temperatures are off the coast, it can have an impact on the fish, krill, the squids in the region as well. She said it was important to keep monitoring the population to look for longer trends, particularly as the survey only recorded numbers of breeding adults, but did not gauge breeding success. So I'm guessing they're helping restore quality shelter habitats. So the algae bloom is known to have negatively impacted the survival of sea lion pups on the nearby Paggy's Islands in their 2025 breeding season due to lack of food for feeding mothers. There is also the New Zealand sea lion that inhabits the different coasts of New Zealand.
Wouldn't that have kept the, penguins safer?
Um, uh, Not necessarily. Well, somewhat maybe when it comes to sea lion predation, but really it would there would probably be a lot more negative impacts from it considering it's negatively affecting their food sources. Let's see. Due to lack of food for feeding mothers, Miss Camino said although squid, which forms a large part of the little penguin's diet, had been badly impacted by the bloom, they also feed on pilchards and sardines, which were more able to swim away from the expansive algae. It's still, yeah, it kind of shows that the little penguin is a bit of a generalist when it comes to feeding, much like grizzly bears over in a wide variety of different parts of the world. But um, it's still preferable that the little penguin has massive access to squid and is not just feeding on these two other species of or types of fish. I don't know what specific species of sardine or pilchard in the area. There's different species. It's just good to see that there's some resilience there, some flexibility. They seem to be eating enough. We certainly didn't see lots of worryingly skinny penguins or anything like that. I like how they're always giving pictures of just fluffy, cheerful little penguins.
That's a
And
chick, isn't it?
I think so. He seems to have very um, primitive plumage feathers. So the largest colony at Emu Bay recorded 332 birds, which is the highest number ever recorded. And Penshaw, where tourist penguin tours are conducted, recorded 206, the largest number since 2012. However, Ms. Camino said historically the population had been much higher. I've had loads of locals talk to me about decades ago. They used to have penguins walking up and down the street, and you couldn't sleep for the noise, but certainly not recovered to those sorts of levels yet. Little penguins are known for making very loud sounds compared to, I guess, certain other species of penguins. Emperor penguins down in Antarctica can make quite a stir, but it's a bit different with little penguins. It's deeper. The emperor penguin is more that high pitched sort of higher pitched sort of sound, whereas it's a bit deeper for little penguins. Kind of funny. The largest town on Kangaroo Island is Kingscote, and its penguin population has been surveyed longer than any other. It was recorded as having 868 birds in that colony alone in 2007, but that number dropped to 38. Whoa! That is not good in 2024 and 64 in the most recent survey. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's slightly nice to hear that it increased, but dropping, like nearly wiping out the population. What occurred? Was there some massive disease? Were they starving? Um, was something killing them off, like as in a feral predator? Behavioral ecologist and little penguin expert with Flinders University, Dr. Diane Colembali Negrel, said while it was great to see the increase in numbers, she agreed that ongoing surveys would show if there was a pattern of recovery. Jeez, that's nuts. We'll have to see if that continues in the future, but at least it's bringing hope that there could be some increase, even though the numbers are still lower than those in that very early census. That's extremely low. She said it was great to see a similar trend recorded on both Kangaroo and Granite Islands in 2025, except they have far more little penguins. I wouldn't call that the same or even similar. We'll have to see what the future holds, but it's good to hear. I think I already said that. So, Kangaroo's Island's little penguins are much loved by the residents and visitors to the island, and Miss Camino said this was reflected by the number of people helping with weeding and revegetation works and an increased awareness of the need to keep dogs away from the birds and pet cats indoors. Guess that's a little house, I guess, for the penguins.
Was that kid eating the penguins?
Yeah, probably. It's a bit freaky. Students from the Young Environmental Leaders program have been working alongside volunteers from the Rotary Club of Burnside to refurbish older artificial burrows and install new ones at Emu Bay. So, volunteers and council workers have also been working on removing introduced weeds like African boxthorn and kikuyu grass, which can block the entrance to burrows and replacing them with native vegetation. It makes you wonder how those plants got there. It was probably just due to um, landscaping sales. The apex predators on Kangaroo Island are feral cats, and the landscape board has been attempting to remove them entirely from the Dudley Peninsula, which is home to the little penguin colony at Penishaw. We're sort of coming up to the pointy end of the eradication on the Dudley Peninsula, so it'll be interesting to see what the difference is in colony numbers and recovery on the Dudley versus the rest of the island. Oh no! Gosh, I thought he was just, wondering maybe there's some other penguins. No, he's literally being pursued by a cat. Gosh, poor penguin. Annual surveys will continue to monitor the population and any ongoing impacts from the harmful algae bloom. Like they said earlier, it stated that, yeah, I think we've wiped out most of the cats.
These guys need some emperor protection.
Yeah, I think they would help. The data from the surveys will also be used to provide a baseline of information should the island's little penguin population be affected by bird flu. Oh, in the future. Why does this have to be a thing? Well, I don't mean about like um just specifically the disease existing, but this is constantly being mentioned in different bird populations and it's just annoying because usually it's like one or just a handful of specific birds have been identified with it, almost as if so. Um, it's to help with control. Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, besides that, there's that other one. There he is. Just looking back at the little penguin pictures. Okay, well, this is good to hear with the little penguins, except for that one population. But thanks for joining. And we're streaming on both Rumble, YouTube, and Kick. And from Prehistoric to present, my name is Ethan. This is Creature Guide Live Daily News. Happy International Wallaby Day. And remember that nothing is better than all animals all the time.